Buongiorno, Formula One and IndyCar fans. Today is May 17, 2020. Well, it stinks even so that this pandemic is still continuing to keep racing action from around the world occurring. First order of business. While the Formula One 2020 season is yet to start, silly season has already begun. And in what way, you ask? At the end of the 2020 season, Sebastian Vettel is parting ways with Ferrari because they couldn't come to an contractual agreement. And money, surprisingly, had nothing to do with it. Even though he's won 14 races with the team, his 4 championships in Formula One had all come with Red Bull, none with Ferrari. So where's he going to go from here is yet to be decided. And who's going to replace him at Ferrari, you ask? This year's McLaren Renault racer, Carlos Sainz Jr. of Spain, will stand alongside Charles Leclerc of Monaco for the Scuderia Ferrari lineup. And Daniel Ricciardo is moving from Renault to McLaren, which next year McLaren will be switching from Renault to Mercedes power. Pretty much the same power plant that has helped Lewis Hamilton start his season in 2007 and win his first championship in 2008. In fact, every race that Lewis Hamilton has driven in F1 has always had a Mercedes engine behind him, whether it was with McLaren or the Mercedes factory team alone. So for those of you who are hoping to see Lewis Hamilton someday go to Ferrari, I'm afraid your hopes, no matter how high up you got, has gotten really, really smashed. I had my doubts about that myself. It's just as well. The relationship between Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton seemed tighter than Jacques Cousteau's wetsuits. In IndyCar news, it is unfortunate that, as a result of this global pandemic, the Toronto Grand Prix is the latest Indy race cancellation for the season. As for the whole Ferrari rumors that I talked about in my last video, I can tell you one thing: the Italian stallion has confirmed an IndyCar evaluation program. But I would think that if Ferrari does not make this move into IndyCars, it would be gigantically foolish on their part. In fact, I don't see why they can't do both F1 and IndyCar at the same time. I mean, the USA is a major market for the Ferrari company, and a lot of publicity. I see nothing wrong with Ferrari joining IndyCars. I mean, it would indeed attract many people, draw large crowds, increase TV ratings and clubs. I'm sure Scuderia Ferrari clubs throughout the country would flock to these IndyCar races for sure. And unlike Lotus, I'm sure Ferrari would take the time to iron out all wrinkles with their car engine performance parts, so they'll be sure to be competitive. And I'm sure that the Scuderia Corsa team, which drove with Honda power last year, I'm sure this would be an obvious gesture that Ferrari would welcome, because they have a IMSA program as well with Ferrari power. So Scuderia Corsa would be ideal. And I think Andretti Autosport should team up with Ferrari as well in the future. So if they did, and Fernando Alonso was to drive in the Indy cars in the future after 2020 this year, that it seems like an obvious fix, because then there'll be no strings attached like with Honda, like I mentioned a few videos ago, that's been keeping this deal from occurring. So Andretti with Ferrari, Alonso and with the fact that Alonso won his final F1 race on home soil in 2013 with a Ferrari, seems like an ideal match. And I'm sure Carlos Sainz Jr., his fellow compatriot, would root him on. Spaniards and Ferrari. Now that's a gift to see. As for the Indianapolis 500's original date, which was supposed to be exactly a week from now, on May 24th, as I said, has been postponed to August 23rd, but a rerun of last year's Indy 500 will be televised on NBC at 2:30 p.m. So if you at least want to watch last year's race to keep you occupied, well, there you have it. And as I might have mentioned about Le Mans earlier this year, that it's been postponed to September, but unfortunately the North American Porsche and Corvette racing teams have withdrawn their entries from the event because of the whole pandemic. In any case, I am praying to God that Ferrari actually considers this evaluation program and that actually becomes a reality, and to see them draw large crowds and win lots of races in IndyCar, because, oh my god, you would be astonished at I see nothing wrong with Ferrari and IndyCars. Like, they have nothing to lose and absolutely everything to gain by doing this. So, Ferrari, if you're watching this, please go join IndyCars and Formula One at the same time, because you will definitely do nothing but attract lots of people, and it's good for business, and I don't see how it couldn't be. When you do win the Indy 500, there is no doubt, as I said before, that the Italian horse will sing with glee when you do. Yeah, 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 yeah. To conclude this video, the latest IndyCar race will take place June 6th at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time in Texas on NBC Sports Network. And as of Wednesday, May 13th, it has been announced that what should have been the opening round of the 2020 season in St. Petersburg, Florida, has been rescheduled to become the IndyCar season finale later this year. As for Formula One, I believe that the first weekend of July in Austria behind closed doors is where it will take place at the Red Bull Ring. And as for Texas, that too will be behind closed doors, no audiences. And we'll see how these races pan out, and hope that the pandemic stays away. So, in conclusion, let us also pray that a cure for the pandemic can be found so this can be brought to a conclusion. And pray as well that Ferrari will actually go in IndyCar racing. And to show my enthusiasm for the idea of, or the aspect of Ferrari going IndyCar racing, what better way to show my enthusiasm than having some pasta for lunch? And there's no doubt that the Scuderia Ferrari Club of Philadelphia, as well as other clubs throughout the country, would indeed flock to the Indianapolis 500 if Ferrari, or maybe I should say when Ferrari, becomes a reality in IndyCar racing. Till then, as we play the waiting game, I say, ciao bello, IndyCar and F1 fans. I'm Aaron Cylinder, firing on all cylinders.